to Fort Benning to begin airborne training. They were the first parachute infantry regiment to complete airborne training as a unit. The 506 was a 6th parachute regiment constituted by the U.S. Army. Their training continued in England, near Airborne, until 5 June 1944, when the 506 suited up for a different kind of parachute jump. At 0100 hours on 6 June 1944, the regiment jumped into the skies over France as the lead element of a massive Allied D-Day invasion. Their objective was to seize the high ground immediately behind the Normandy beaches. By the evening of 6 June 1944, the regiment had secured its objectives and had linked up with other elements of the invasion force who had established a beachhead at Normandy. For its exploits at Normandy, the 506 Regiment earned a Presidential Unit Citation, and 25 of its members received a Distinguished Service Cross. After 10 weeks of refitting and training back here in England, the 506 was once again called upon to parachute into combat, this time into Holland as part of Operation Market Garden. The regiment went on to liberate the town of Eindhoven on 18 September 1944 and aided in the withdrawal of the beleaguered British 1st Airborne from Arnhem on 7 October 1944. On the morning of 18 December 1944, the unit was hastily loaded onto trucks and transported to the vicinity of Bastogne, Belgium, to stem a major German attack on the critical city. The mission of the 506 Infantry Regiment was to hold the town of Nivelles, 4 miles to the north. The regiment successfully resisted vicious German assaults and earned its 2nd Presidential Unit Citation for its actions at Bastogne. The final significant event of World War II occurred when the regiment drove into southeast Germany and overran Hitler's famous Eagle's Nest and accepted the surrender of the 82nd Corps from its German commander, General Tolstoy, at Gastine. In November 1945, the 506 was inactivated in France. In December 1967, the 506 Infantry arrived in the Central Highlands of Vietnam. While in Vietnam, the regiment was converted from an airborne to an air mobile infantry. Here they would serve for 4 years, earn 12 more battle streamers, and be awarded the 3rd Presidential Unit Citations for action at Dong Nap Bai Mountains, commonly referred to as Hamburger Hill. The 506 soon found itself involved in thwarting the Tet Offensive. It was also during this action that Specialist Spec 4 Gordon Roberts earned the Medal of Honor for his heroic actions. 3 others were later awarded the Silver Star for gallantry during the execution of night patrol to recover the bodies of fallen comrades. During its relatively short history, the 506 had fought in 2 wars on 2 continents, participating in 16 campaigns. Each of these honors served as a distinct reminder of the unit's proud heritage and its dedication to the preservation of freedom. The 506 reactivated as part of the 506 Regimental Combat Team, which became the 4th Brigade Combat Team, 101st Airborne Division at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, as part of the Army's transformation towards a modular force in 2005. The unit deployed to Iraq in 2006, Afghanistan in 2008, and again redeployed back to Fort Campbell each time. The unit was deployed in Afghanistan once again in August of 2010 as part of the surge. This was in contribution to the Air National Security Assistance Force located in the Regional Command East, East Paktika. During this deployment, Sergeant Donald Starks was awarded the Silver Star for gallantry for actions during the Battle of Kap Margat. President John F. Kennedy once said, "Let the word go forth from this time and place, to friend and foe alike, that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans." The honor, sense of courage, and camaraderie forged in 1942 in Toccoa, Georgia, polished here in Airborne, and hardened in combat is alive and well in our soldiers, sailors, and airmen of today. They form the next greatest generation and share many of the same traits their forefathers demonstrated. They come from all walks of life, and they volunteer to serve their country in a time of war. They and their families endure many hardships so that others can maybe afford the opportunity for a better way of life. The mental and physical toughness forged in places like Fort Campbell and Fort Polk are reminiscent of those tough days in Toccoa or all of war. They are ready to meet any challenge alongside their band brothers. Today, we remember their sacrifices and honor them. For me, not a day goes by that I don't remember those fellow Kurgis that are latest to pay the ultimate sacrifice in the high mountainous terrain of a far-off land. Their names and faces will forever be etched in my brain and on my heart. Specialist Moffat Whiskey Company, PFC Rodriguez Dog Company, PFC Nunn Easy Company, Sergeant Summers India Company, represented their regiment and their country so very well. I encourage each and every one of you here today to take a veteran's memory into your mind, and every day, not just on days like today, remember them and what they have provided you. Curry stands alone.